if you notice the lighting, it's wrong.
And what I keep hearing is like when people go to look at a home that's been designed or created, when you kind of see the lighting and it's not to the quality, you then start to unpick the joinery. You go, okay, have they made bad selections throughout the rest of the project?
Where does that mindset come from? Is it from your electrical days?
10 years I worked as an electrician.
Yeah.
Installing. And there's so often that like when I was installing, I'd just be like, no one's thought about how this is actually installed.
We manufactured it all. We got like right to the end point. Jay called me having like a half meltdown, like we can't do this because it doesn't fit over junction boxes for concrete walls. And there's a lot of sweat equity.
At the end of the day, we're going to die. Like you may as well do something.
Call a cat a cat.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome to Behind the Design, a podcast where we unfold the details behind the designs we know and love and explore how each project comes to life. I am Camilla Ingall, owner of Unfolded, an interior design and styling studio. In this podcast series, we dive into the details with our industry experts, covering topics such as the creative process, latest design trends, and how we, as an industry, work together to meet the brief and overcome challenges. Let the conversation begin.
Welcome back to Behind the Design. Today's episode is a little different and honestly one I've been really excited for because for the first time on the podcast, we're diving deep into the world of lighting design. Joining me today is Jay and CJ, the founders of Objects for Thought, a lighting brand that has quickly become known for its thoughtful approach to design, technical detailing, and close relationships with architects and interior designers across Australia. What I found so interesting about these two is how intentionally they've built the business. This isn't just a conversation about beautiful products. It's a conversation about designing with restraint and why saying no is one of the most important decisions they make, the feedback loop they've built by staying direct with architects and designers instead of handing the conversation off to distributors, how they use honest criticism as a design tool with each other and with collaborators, what it actually takes to launch a product-based business when your first collection is funded by a $5,000 inheritance, and why one of them spent years resisting lighting despite training as an electrician. We also get into how they've divided the business across two cities, Melbourne and Brisbane, and why it actually works. The moment they realised they needed to stop doing everything and just do lighting, the ego check they've built into their creative partnership, and what it really looks like to build something slow and deliberate in an industry that moves fast. Guys, welcome to Behind the Design. It's great to have you both on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for travelling in. So I'd love to start right back at the beginning. For anyone who hasn't come across Objects for Thought, what is the business and how did it begin?
So to start with, Objects for Thought, we're a contemporary lighting company. We're based in Melbourne and on the Gold Coast. And we started 2020, launched our first collection start of 2022. So 3 and a bit years of like really in, but me and CJ met at uni. Queensland College of Art years ago.
First class.
Yeah, first class, first week.
Yeah.
Had tried multiple things leading into that, but eventually got to the first collection and we're like, oh, this design's actually worth sticking with. So that's where the Rider collection was born. And so 2022, contemporary lighting company.
Cool. And so when you say you trialled a few things, what can you elaborate on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, we both got very varied backgrounds. So prior to uni, I grew up, my father builds custom motorcycles. So I was always kind of around workshops and making and design. But then I went into finance and I worked in banking for like 8 years before going back to uni. And then, going back to uni, being a mature age student, I think Jay walked in that first class and was like, oh, you're here for the right reason. Like you're here for the same reason I am. So, and I think that started then and there. And I mean, Jay's background.
Yeah, I used to be an electrician before, which kind of makes sense with the lighting.
Relevant.
Yeah. But CJ laughs about it. It took quite a few years for me to just accept that we should make lighting.
I think for the first 6 years out, Jay wouldn't make lights.
Yeah, I just wanted to make
just nothing to do with being an electrician.
Yeah, I just kind of rejected it for a long time.
Bit of resistance.
Huge. You know, trying to be an artist, more edition type design work.
Yeah.
We'd worked on a few kind of collaborative pieces with galleries, a few stools and chairs here and there.
Yeah, the Vivid Awards. I think we
Yeah,
got
it was
something
like an early
into,
one,
and
yeah.
we'd always cross collaborated. So we both had our own personal practices in design and art, and then while we were also working for other design and manufacturing brands as well. So I was a technical designer with a public art company for a period of time, as well as a business development manager there, as well as working for other lighting companies in the country while simultaneously working on our own practices.
Which
and
is
also,
so common.
It's everyone does
People
it.
have to,
Yeah,
at the
everyone.
start.
Yeah, that's how
Everyone
you
you
do
talk
it,
to
right?
does it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so kind of like I was definitely going down the more collectible design kind of route. Had shows with the Gold Coast Triennial, Home of the Arts, and then this year with the Rig Prize at the NGV. Collaboratively, the way me and CJ would work is more on like a kind of a really good sounding board with each other for those years before we got to Objects for Thought. So
Yeah,
it would
nothing was either one of ours.
Yeah, nothing was like safe. Like we were very good at critiquing each other, but also kind of lifting each other up where it's deserved. But
I think it's the constructive criticism.
Yeah.
I think it's being comfortable enough to tell someone that they can do better.
Yeah.
But I think there was probably several times where I think I told Jay that he could do better, and he was like, "Nah, I think this is great."
Yeah.
And I think there's something beautiful in that too, is knowing when you think it's enough as well.
Which we take into the business now.
Oh, it's
Eventually you see a line where if one of us are that confident,
invested and like
you're like, okay, maybe I haven't thought about this as much. And it
Yeah,
kind of
like, am I
leads into
rushing
more-
this?
Yeah, it's more into like a trust thing, I guess.
Yeah.
I
Well, it's
think-
like having someone to kind of help you limit.
Well, I think in design
Things a
too,
bit.
we've all got ego, right?
Mm.
And I think for us in the business, what's really nice is we've figured out a way in which we can kind of check each other when the ego is starting to enter and be like, hey, is this something that you're doing because the ego's coming up, or is this like a sound business decision that we've kind of, we're working through?
Sometimes we actually say that. I'm like, I want to do this because I've got a little bit of an ego about still wanting to
And I think that's great.
Do
Like you need to.
a little bit more
Yeah.
like one-off design pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But keep it intentional.
Acknowledge it,
totally.
I think, though, because I think then
good
that's
self-awareness.
You can have really good clarity. Well, I think that's
It's a bit annoying sometimes.
but I think it's also the special, like what we've got having the two of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
I think of people who are doing this by themselves who don't have that sounding board, and
That'll be hard.
Yeah. Can be tricky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hugely.
And so, CJ, you're based in Brisbane.
Yep.
Jay, you're in Melbourne. How do you actually make that work day to day?
We always have.
The internet.
Yeah, the internet's pretty good.
The obvious.
But we always have. So Jay lived in Coolangatta on the south end of the Gold Coast, and I lived in the north end of the Gold Coast. So like our whole business, and that's a
Gold Coast is
40-minute.
very long.
It's a 50-minute drive.
Yeah.
So
It is
whether
big,
he's
isn't
in
it?
Melbourne or Queensland, like we're in the same time zone.
We're on the phone 10, 15 times a day.
Yeah.
Just as if they're
Messages,
in the other
emails.
room.
It's
But I think it's also a trust thing and something we kind of, we might get into a bit later, but like spend a lot of time really understanding what the business is and where it needs to go and who we serve, and then really clearly defining which roles we take on. So
And I think we're super lucky that naturally, the things that I enjoy and that I'm good at is the kind of sales and admin management kind of part of the business, and the things that Jay
relationship management.
really,
sort of stuff,
relationship management. The things that Jay really likes is the making and the production and the delivery and the
Design
marketing.
and, the marketing side.
So like I think we've been super lucky that we've got really compatible skill sets.
Yeah.
And so the things that he's doing, I'm like, cool, you can do that. I don't want to do that. And the
Not
things that I'm
interested.
doing, Jay's like, I'm not interested in
like
doing it.
CJ's the excitement that he gets for a CRM. Just like, great man, that's awesome.
I love that for you.
But like we both,
You can appreciate that.
we
Yeah.
But also
build the systems for together.
we build them
Yeah.
both together.
Yeah,
So,
but
like,
it's me helping edit CJ for that, and then same with the design stuff because CJ is also a great designer and has a lot more, actually has a lot more technical knowledge just from his kind of upbringing and the places he's worked. Where I'm just like, I would need to do this. If I don't necessarily know
But Jay, like stock management,
Yeah.
you know, building out that production system as well. Like
Huge.
we're always talking about it. So there's,
Yeah.
you know, like I said previously, I think we're just lucky that we're on the same page. We can both chip into what each other's doing,
Like fill the gaps here and there.
fill
Yeah.
the gaps, and also just understand the end goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Team.
Team,
Yeah.
that's
Sound like
it.
a very balanced team.
Yeah.
It's good. Love that. You've described yourselves as each other's biggest supporters and also biggest critics. How important is honest feedback? And, you know, when you're building something creatively together, how important is that honest feedback?
Hugely. I think the thing we're learning though as well as we go through, because I think as we build the business, we like recently we invited Jordan Fleming to design a collection for us. And I think the thing that we're learning through doing that process and trying to invite other creatives in is that there's different ways of giving that feedback. Like I think Jay and I, once again, are really lucky that we speak the same language and we understand each other's, you know, like push points. So we can be brutally honest.
Yeah.
Whereas I think there's a way of delivering that to other creatives as well, which is it's been really nice, I think, to learn that.
Yeah, it's I guess it's being reflective, and this also comes into like talking to our clients and kind of even with electricians, kind of everyone we speak to, it's understanding that sure there's a way that I like to act, but I think the first point of call is we have to then take a moment and recognize how this person we're speaking to actually responds best and
Or
it's not-
receives that information.
receives that information. I guess it's not necessarily about being right, it's about being effective. So just because I may say something that is right, it doesn't mean that it's going to get us to a better design or a better kind of system of doing something within the company, or even like a better delivery method, or
But I think that's a
way of
really-
lighting a space.
I think that's a really good point though, because a lot of the you know, the conversations I have when, you know, building relationships and talking about to interior designers about their projects is they're always after a second voice or a second opinion. So it is on that point of understanding we're all in this together and we're all people. So I think being super genuine and wearing your heart on your sleeve sometimes I think is the nicest way to do it. Like, because we can all be doing much easier things.
There's sometimes I'll just be like digging in on like my opinion on something, and CJ will get really, there's a certain tone in his voice that I can hear. I'm like, you're really annoyed at me. What is it? And then we start doing like an impromptu like therapy session. Like, what is this about? Why are you pushing back on this so hard? It's
Just
not
take
necessarily
time to
the idea.
step away.
Yeah, because sometimes it could be like, I didn't sleep well. CJ's got 2 young boys. It could be like,
Just an off day.
yeah, exactly.
Like you got to allow yourself an off
Yeah.
day. You're not going to be on all the time.
I think the other thing we've learned is to not let things stew, and the same thing with decision making.
Yeah.
I think, you know, working in corporate worlds and other things like that is, and in big business, there's always like let's create another meeting, let's think about it. A lot of what you just kind of said there, I think we get to a point where it's a pain point and we go, okay, well, let's stop, let's figure this out right now. Like whether it's a hard decision, it doesn't matter whether we make a decision today or tomorrow. Like
Probably
if we make
gonna
it
be the same
tomorrow,
decision.
we're probably just going to stew on it for a day. So let's get to it and make the decision now, then we can move on.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And do you find as well, you know, I know you're a bit more sales, business development side of things, but creatively, I noticed that, I don't know even if this is right to say, but you can be a little bit more emotionally driven
Hugely.
sometimes, or emotionally led, because as creatives, we're quite bigger picture and open-minded and expansive. And I think that can bring up some emotion. So when you're trying to be quite business and logical, you kind of have to park some
you do.
some
I
of that
think-
just
I
to
think
make that
was-
decision, as you say.
Yeah, I think for us that was in the framework of creating a company and making objects for thought.
Yeah.
We're actually not like, yes, we're personally engaged in the process of it, but it's objects for thought's name. Like it's not CJ Anderson. It's not
Company
Jay
decision.
Jamine who's out in the world.
We've
so
tried that.
There's a degree
Too
of
emotional.
separation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too emotional for
Yeah.
those things where an interior designer is going to use our product. Like that's the reality. Like
Yeah.
we're a part of their vision. We're a part of the thing that they're putting together, and we're a very small piece. So for us to be emotionally invested in like we are up to the point of creation. But I think then once it goes beyond that, like we're a part of someone else's journey, someone else's home, someone else's story, you know? So I think, yeah.
We actually did a lot of work on understanding our role, which is, you know, help other designers realize their vision, not necessarily us being the hero. Like when CJ had his own kind of career, you know, designed the big family sofa for Dow Jones. Like I had gallery exhibitions like in Australia, internationally as well. Having our name in that, it was like
there's a lot of
so
like
much,
you said,
like you're saying,
emotional.
so much emotion. And if you don't make a sale, you think it's
reflection of you.
It's a reflection of you. Whereas, like CJ said, understanding that we're building a company and our role is to help these other designers with their vision. You become more into like less offended if someone doesn't, because it might not be the best thing for the project. And it's like, that makes it a lot easier when we understand what our purpose is
and for us,
what type of company we're trying to build.
And that purpose of like helping interior designers, right? Like you work on how many projects a year, you know, 10, 15, 20, depending on the studio size. Like it might not be the first one, might not be the second. It might be in 3 years' time that you've gone, there's the project. So for us, it's about being ready and just help. Like I genuinely get energy from talking to people about their projects, like hearing the selections they've made, and like it's really insightful for me. Like hearing the passion and everything else,
and the colours,
because we are. I think everyone in design who does design for a living is so passionate about what we do.
And that end result.
So lovely to be able to just be along the process, whether we're in the project or not. It's really lovely to see them come through.
Yeah, and it's the bigger picture.
Always,
So when it comes to lighting, I personally think lighting is one of the most underestimated parts of design. So, you know, in any interior space or exterior space, a lot of people notice the joinery, the furniture, the finishes, but they don't always realize that lighting is often the thing shaping how all of those elements sort of come together as well, and highlighting features. So why do you think good lighting matters so much?
I think there's a couple of ways to look at it. I think if you notice the lighting, it's wrong, because it's harsh, it's glary, it's like it's not reflecting the finish as well. Like one technical thing from lighting is like there's a color a CRI rating, which is a certain index that gives you a true representation of what the color is. It's like daylight. So if you spend all this time on selecting this walnut or a beautiful tile, and then you put low quality lighting in, it's not actually going to reflect the colors that you've chosen. So
if it's like below a CRI, like
below 80, like 80 is like a 2700K kind of like warm lighting. You know, that's sometimes okay, but 95 is what you're looking for. And
because then you get a true representation of the colors and materials and textures within your property too.
So like someone can spend all that time and a lot of money on really great finishes, but if you then don't go to that last step at the end to either, you know, do the right warm lighting or not just do a grid of downlights, which I am guilty of in my past time as an electrician. But
I think they're on the way out.
Do hear that more.
Yes.
Maybe. Maybe in our world.
I don't know. We're not specifying as much.
No. But, you know, there's like the technical side of it where it really can make or break that last, you know, 20% of the design. But really it comes down to atmosphere and how you feel in a space. Yeah. Because it can, if you're in bad lighting for longer than an hour, you're tired, you get irritable. It has a huge impact.
Yeah, I've been talking to a lot of people lately too, and I think one of the joys of my job is talking to everyone about what's happening and how they feel. And what I keep hearing is like when people go to look at a home that's been designed or created, when you kind of see the lighting and it's not to the quality, you then start to unpick the joinery. You go, okay, have they made bad selections throughout the rest of the project?
Almost highlights the...
I think it's sometimes a start as well where you're like, hang on, if they've gone, you know, shortcutted this process, and I get, you know, projects have budgets and we've all got to work to different levels. But if you start to make those selections, typically they're roll-on effect as well, you know, and you've taken other options as you've gone down. And I mean, also interior designers make so much work into designing a package and creating a cohesive, like visual language throughout a space, so that someone can live in it. So then when the projects go through, and I think what typically happens is there's a lot of like things that get subbed out or the selections get changed further down the line when the interior designer isn't engaged in the process. I think sometimes it can, you feel that. The reason I said I had a conversation yesterday with a consumer about it. They were just, they were like, I can't believe that like people don't really, they don't look at this part of it as well.
Absolutely.
A quick word from my studio Unfolded. Everything we talk about on this podcast, the process, the decisions, the thinking behind the beautiful spaces, that's what we live and breathe every day at Unfolded. We create interiors that are functional, considered, and deeply connected to the way people actually live, working closely with clients, architects, and builders to bring thoughtful environments to life. If you're curious about what that actually looks like in practice, come and find us at unfolded.com.au or follow along on Instagram at unfolded_.
And it is quite common, as you say, some builders will sub out my selections. The schedule says objects for thought, gets subbed out for beacon lining or whatever it might be, getting the look for less.
Yeah.
And for us as designers, it's about educating our clients on why we deliberately worked with you to select that light in that space or those lights in those spaces.
Completely.
And I think our clients appreciate that because they will invest if they're educated.
That's it.
But if they don't know the why and they see that it's going to be $500 cheaper, they're going to get swayed by that.
I think that's a big thing for us is being a partner with, interior designers and architects, and also throughout like looking at it as like a complete system and holistically, because, it is also our job to arm you with the information to be able to, help communicate your client.
Totally.
But then it's also that next level that, when we design our lights, we're also thinking of the trades and the electricians that have to install and handle the lights. Because I think if they have a hard time, it's, it impacts the whole build. And then the decisions which probably they should be concentrating on, they kind of don't get to spend the time there because another part's taken up a bit of their time, you know? So for us, it's like, how do we make that whole process easy? And then if the lighting and if the product suits the project, great, it works, and I think, and if not, like I said before, there's another one, there's more. Yeah.
Absolutely. Something I found fascinating is how deeply you both think through every tiny technical detail. So even things like mounting hole placements or how electrician interacts with the product during install, which we've just raised, that level of consideration actually feels quite rare, from a lighting business. So where does that mindset come from? Is it from your electrical days? Or?
Yes, that's kind of was the first thing that we thought about when we were doing the Rider collection was installing it. Because the way it's wide into the wall behind. So and we started thinking about, okay, when this is installed in like a concrete slab and there's a junction box.
The reason that came up is we had actually designed a smaller version, like a 40 mil diameter version of the Rider
that was
collection.
The first iteration of Rider.
And we manufactured it all. We got like right to the end point. Jay called me having like a half meltdown, like, we can't do this. This is not going to work because it doesn't fit over junction boxes for concrete walls.
Yeah. I was like, it's done.
It's done. He's like, we're done. Like, and because the Rider, the size it is, was actually the second selection and size. It was the small one we thought was going to be the thing that was going to work.
Yeah.
Which has never seen really the light of day.
But I think that's because I'd spent 10 years, I worked as an electrician.
Yeah.
Installing so many. And there's so often that like when I was installing, I'd just be like, no one's thought about how this is actually installed. And so it's kind of started there, just kind of me having some background knowledge into it. But then the further we got into truly unpacking why we're building the company and what our purpose is like we said, it's to help the entire build. So yes, we have the architects and the interior designers specifying all the finishes and everything like that.
The
but that's only one
layout
part of the process. To actually get a really resolved, great build, great project, you need to have your trades, you need to have like all your finishes, like the design team, all the manufacturers that have like all the products in it. So there's just like so many components of the whole thing.
All in a schedule.
All in a very neatly aligned
Love my schedules.
schedule.
Yes.
And so thinking about what the end goal is to build a project that has legacy or that, can last time. And you can't just do that by just thinking about, oh, we want this to look like this. But if it just looks good and it doesn't work or it doesn't help everyone involved, that's kind of like our little checklist. Like it has to work for everyone.
And I think the nice thing for us and the biggest compliment we've been having is lots of our lights have actually been spec'd in builders and electricians' own homes, as well as interior designers. So like they call me and are like, hey, I worked with you on X project and I installed
literally
them
this morning.
And they're like,
the ease of installation.
They're like, these are so great. And I'm like, oh, this is like, it warms our heart because, that's our.
I'll take that 7 a.m. call.
It's like, it's really nice to hear that, like we're all doing the work.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's human-based design. Like we're all working with people. So I think just thinking of everyone involved in that process, I think it's,
On that, you just said 7 a.m. CJ specifically gets up earlier and starts calling and replying to people because their trades are up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the builders, the wholesalers, they're all up and they might just be hanging around site for 2 hours waiting for us to start work.
Yeah.
CJ gets on the phone and he calls them, solves their problem so they can just keep going.
Yeah.
So that's something that we purposely do is
everyone needs
earlier.
a CJ.
Well, I think I'll take that. I think the other thing too, the opportunity for us is in how we solve our problems. So if ever is a problem,
which inevitably there is.
There
is, but it doesn't need to be made dramatic. It's
I think
errors are going to happen.
The problem is how they will understand to work with you next.
Yeah.
So if that process of the trouble comes up and it's just dealt with, like the amount of people that have come back and like ordered more lights or something else because we solved their problem.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that like the principle method? Like I'm a big believer in it's the principle of things. And in that context, it's, human error. There's always going to be something. Yeah. And that's not to say that anyone's done anything wrong. It could be outside your control. Yeah. It's not what the problem is. It's how you manage it.
It's how you fix it. Yeah.
And that's what people are going to remember. They're going to remember that objects for thought got to site or called the builder or had that conversation that was a little bit hard or there was a delay or whatever that might be. And same for us as designers, you're constantly managing expectations.
Always.
It's how you show up. It's not necessarily, there was an error. Even just saying I said this to my staff, even if something's wrong or something's delayed, communicate that we are managing it.
That's it.
As soon as someone knows or clients know that they're looked after,
they're not actually that worried about it.
They're like, oh, no worries. But if they find out later that you haven't told anything, it's been 3 days.
I was just holding off to see. It's like, don't do that.
We learn, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think just another point on that is what we do too is because Jay's background being an electrician, a lot of the times there's some kind of things that get missed in communication. So what we'll also do with interior designers is Jay will jump on the phone with their electricians to kind of just say, hey, look, I think we've got a missed, where that's just missed in communication. Yeah. And then we get sourced. Jay gets to talk tradie.
It's a different language.
They talk their lingo and like you said, it just erases any kind of doubts that happen.
And because I've been able to like educate CJ more as well. Like the other day when you're like, explain to the designer, like just tell them to bring out 240 out of the ceiling. Yeah. And then because we're going to drive a surface mount.
No, 240 volt, like the power out of the ceiling. Okay. And because we can do like remote mounted drivers and then surface mounts. So
very
if you've got a concrete slab.
The way he said it, I was like, I get it. Good, nice.
Yeah.
Or there's some other things like I was chatting with Jay about and it goes over my head because like electricians are like, I think that's a very, very skilled job. But just in terms of like, we were making a new floor lamp and it was like, there's wiring that goes inside. And I was like, oh, does it need to breathe? And Jay went through a whole like formula over like dropping capacity for cables. And I think each day gives me more respect for like the amount of knowledge that trades have is incredible.
And I think as well, when people say, I want a good builder.
Yeah.
It's the same. I want a good electrician.
Yeah.
you know.
It's a team. It's the same team
It
thing.
is.
Like, I think when you get that, and you would probably can attest to that, you know, like if that team isn't working well, like the rest of the project feels it. So like for us, we're also a part of that team, and we're a part of that delivery team. Like, we're not just giving you lights and then saying see you later. Like, until that thing is installed, and also once you've been living with it for 6 months, like, we're a part of your team. We're here to help you through that whole process. So
Yeah, holding their hand. Love that.
that's it.
So I also loved your philosophy around customization. A lot of brands say yes to absolutely everything early on, but you intentionally create boundaries around what you would and wouldn't do. Why is that so important for you both?
I think what it came back to, I think it was some life experience that we've probably both had.
I'm confused which story to tell.
But also,
How do I say
one,
this?
like, my father builds custom motorcycles. I would see that like cycle that you go through to create one thing. And then also the public art company I worked for was the same kind of experience. Is the amount of effort that would go into creating one thing, you know, was astronomical. And I think for us, I think we really enjoy the process of really resolving something.
Yeah.
And so getting to that point
that
where
last
we have
5%.
like dialed every possible way that this thing works allows us to deliver it and for these things to live in the world forever, if that's, you know, what the world chooses. And I think our choice on custom as well is, it's not that we can't do it, we definitely can. But I think for us to serve our clients and help them with the vision of their projects and everything else, it's best for us to stick true to what we can do best.
And what we want to do.
And what we want to do.
Otherwise you're not enjoying it.
No, like we really enjoy the design process that we go through. Like, we get to go through it all in the back end and, you know, work out we're our own clients in that kind of regard. We're thinking of the industry and interior designers, but we get to kind of make those
the
decisions.
type of company we wanted to build was a product company where the product's as good as it can be and it's delivered perfectly every time.
And it all gets its time to become to that level.
Because there's iterations that happen in the industry as, you know, you launch Riders on V3 now. It's finished.
And aesthetically you wouldn't know any different, but internally we're like tweaking all of the little details.
Well, you've been across it from the beginning. It's a process.
So custom stops at that 80% mark. And
it just inherently you don't get the chance to, because of a project timeline, because of another kind of delivery schedule. You know,
there's also a different business structure.
Yeah.
So, and like, sure, we don't do custom products. Sometimes, like, we're working on one kind of a bigger project now where there's a longer lead time.
It's a large volume.
Huge volume. We can spend the time on getting it right. But just because we don't make the custom project, it doesn't mean that we don't help still. So we have a network of other designers who are really good at that. And so we'll say no to making it, but we'll then follow through, connect them with our people and still an act of service and help, because that's our job, is to like help project get done. So we hand it off to a select group of people that we have kind of there ready.
I think the other deliberate decision in that was so that people know how to work with us. So, because I think if you know, early on,
model.
Early on we had in our first 6 months, we had furniture up, we had lighting, we had all of this stuff. And then we were like, hang on, if someone comes here, like, what do we do? Like, we do everything. How do you know to work with us? Well, you don't. And so we're like, okay, cool. What's our niche? And we're like, okay, well, we do lights. We do product-driven lighting.
Well-made lights.
Very well-made, product-driven lighting. Like, and if we threw custom, or, you know, like in that complete sense of custom, that wouldn't help anyone in the process, because you would still go, but how do I work with you? So whereas now I can say, well, you can use our lights, you can customize them by color or finish. And then we've created a system, like our Verse system was kind of responding to that constant question of custom. So it's a system that you know, you've got kind of like a light source in a tube that is semi-modular. And, you know, so we're working on some bar lights at the moment, which are like 15 meters long by 2 meters wide, you know, and it, one, allows us to deliver something really efficiently,
but it's built for the project as well.
Built for the project. It also helps designers understand how to do that, because same thing, like you would know, designing custom is hugely time intensive. But if you've got something,
a lot of back and forth too.
Well, and I think something that's also like semi-site responsive. And we've got another big project in Brisbane at the moment where that system is being engaged in, and it works in that truest sense of it's very site responsive, but it uses our standard components.
It's within our framework of a product company.
Yeah. And like I said, it's dialed. So when the electricians and trades get it, the install methods there. Like it's been proven, it's had
You're
all
confident
of those
with
things
it.
happen.
Very confident.
So and then our designers who are using it can also be confident in it, who can then pass that confidence along to their clients and their trades.
Oh, which we love.
It's that same circle.
And even for us as designers to be able to call you guys and say, hey, quick question.
Yep.
And for you to be so confident, check page 3. There you go.
That's it.
Yeah. That's what we need as well.
And the same thing, it's not for every project. And there are people who make really beautiful custom things. Like that isn't our skill set.
Yeah.
Staying in your lane.
I think that's how you create a successful, long-lasting
It did
business.
take longer to get in the company though.
Oh, yeah. But I think that's expected, right? Because it can.
But I think it's been the company is the truest sense of who we are though, by having the confidence to say no.
Yeah. Makes sense. So one thing that really stood out to me about your approach is that you've intentionally kept the relationship with architects and designers quite direct. So you didn't want to completely hand that over, to distributors. Why was maintaining that connection so important to you both?
We do have a couple of partners, but they're very value aligned in regards to delivering the quality of service and with what we do. But for the most part, for us, it's like the same thing I've said a few times. Like I love talking to people. Also, there's this thing in work. We design, we produce everything, and having that feedback loop where we're not hearing from our clients,
secondhand information.
But and it might be,
and they may not tell us,
but it might be in passing. So like the other week I was working with an interior designer. They wanted to use our like verse wall light, but they wanted something that was kind of a little bit more discreet, something a bit more tucked back in. And same day, we kind of were able to create an up-down light within our verse collection that suited the project.
Yeah.
So if I didn't have that conversation,
day I built it. Yeah. I was like, what if we do this? We're like FaceTiming. We're like, you can be so much more responsive and faster. And CJ's constantly listening. So am I when people
for the
call
opportunities.
production. For what the problem is like we can get fast feedback and then it gives us the opportunity to act faster again.
But also like versatility.
Yeah.
Like you can move and pivot a bit.
Yeah.
But also
Agile,
who's better to talk about what we do than us? And to know the levers that we can push and pull, like our custom finishes or our capabilities or all of that. And so if that's being completely handed off, I think we want to talk about it. We want to also then bring other people in and build our company of people who want to talk about the product and the process and treat people the way that we want to treat people. You know, I think
we did struggle with that decision. We get asked constantly by good distributors, smaller distributors, retail stores, constantly like fielding no's a lot of the time for that. And
it's big because I think
what made it easier was, like I've said, I kind of keep bringing this up, is like actually we spent a lot of time knowing what our purpose is. And once we became really clear that our job is to help people with their projects, it just made all those decisions a lot easier because we're like, okay.
If we farm off the conversation, how are we helping our people?
Yeah. But if we decided that we just wanted to be a design company or a design agency.
Or a manufacturer.
Well, then there's like so many of our friends are designers and we actually want to build the company where designers can design for us and not have to worry about manufacturing and sales. But that's not what we decided, and that's not what the type of company we want to build. And it was becoming really clear about who we are and what we do.
Yeah.
That made that choice just so obvious that it was like, oh no, we're the best people to speak directly with the client rather than a sales team.
Yeah.
But I think this is also because of the dynamic we have. Like I think if you were a one-person founder trying to do everything,
you wouldn't do it well anyway.
I'm like quite lucky, I think, with the the skill set that I have and how I can build rapport with people. And it's like I genuinely love the conversations that I have. So I think looking at all of that, we were like, if we're passing that off,
what do we have?
I think it's the heart of what we do.
Yeah.
Like, and I think especially with the way in which the whole world is going, I think there's a lot more like human-led, like
Tell me about it. This is why
Yeah,
I like to sit with you
totally.
face to face, not on Zoom.
People work with people too,
Yeah.
you know, like, and if you don't get to know those people,
Yeah.
how are
Create
you
those
supposed to work
relationships.
with them or create anything that will help them?
No, 100%. Couldn't agree with you more. But how have you protected that human side of the business while still scaling?
It's been tricky because I think a couple of times we scaled pretty hard and fast and
Flew very close to the sun.
Yep. But I think
Launching too many collections too quickly. Yeah.
I think we've been really lucky that we've both got, also on that creative front, we've both got our personal practices. So there are definitely things that are like J or CJ that aren't OFT. I think staying true to what we do is having those different modes that, you know, we actually had the conversation last week. There was a piece that we were working on for a collection and I wasn't invested and I just went, look.
The sea glass one.
Yeah. And I was like.
I love it.
It's beautiful. It's an amazing design, but it just doesn't fit our brand.
Yeah.
And but maybe that's a CJ piece or maybe that's a J piece.
Or maybe it's another brand that we start down the line or something.
You know, I think you don't have to do everything. And I think having the brand when you spend the time and you do the work, like we've got a 5-year plan in place. We've done all of this work to know where we're heading. It allows you to then pivot as you're going along that path to know what decisions are the right ones for the end goal of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love that.
And being honest, like, you know, saying earlier, like, we're doing like a fair thing next year to make something a bit more editioned. And that's where I was like, I really want to do this personally because I still have this drive to make these one-off pieces here and there. And so I just openly say that to CJ and he's like, okay, well, let's find some room for that to work.
Yes, within our 5-year plan.
Yeah. It's like finding room because at the end of the day, we're going to die. Like you may as well do something.
Call a cat a cat.
Yeah, exactly.
You may as well do something you want and enjoy yourself.
It's true.
This doesn't feel good. This feels good. Yeah.
And I think it's very much balancing that commercial outcome of what a business is with fitting within the like creative fabric of what we're doing.
100%.
There's easier ways to make money.
There completely is. So for us, it's just constantly what's that balance and what's that line. And I think for us, when we're creating, like creation isn't just a product thing. Like we've designed this business. So we've gone, you know, like when we have employees, what does that look like? What did we like and dislike as being an employee? Like, because we get to choose. Sure, there are standards, but in this life, we all get to choose what happens. So I think for us, it's about being creative in every aspect of what we do as we grow. So strategically, creatively.
It's interesting you say that because it sounds like you've reflected on your own experience growing up.
Constantly.
And I think, I say growing up, but you know, in those early days, early 20s maybe, when we're all getting that first job in the industry and what that looks like and what that feels like. And
late 20s.
Late 20s.
Already done. We both
Early
done a full career before then.
Yeah, true. I'm talking like average uni student, 20. I was 24 when I finished my degree, I think. But what were my expectations of working and how did I want to be treated? And scaling's it's not light.
No.
It's not like people sort of say, oh, you know, hire someone, get some help.
Well, it can happen to you or you can decide how to do it.
I think that's
totally.
Like it can just happen. And
more
you're like,
deliberate
oh my
with
God, we have too much work. I need help. And then you just kind of, you don't.
Not a good position to be in.
Not a good position to be in. Yeah.
But I think early on I worked for someone briefly and what they used to do is each day they would spend a day in there. They'd call it OTB, so on the business.
Oh, yeah.
And I think so many people, we were like, cool, for us for like 3 years.
Love all these
every
abbreviations.
Saturday was out on the business. So we would spend, you know, majority of the day we're like figuring these things out, building out like a perfect world framework of what do the levers look like so that when we get to this point, we know we can bring in that employee.
Yeah.
Who does that employee look like? What is it, you know? And so once you've done all of that work, then you're not like, it's not happening to you. You get to make the choices, which
it's more
is
empowered, more empowered decision. Yeah. And it's better for the person coming in because you're prepared.
Yeah.
You're not just sort of grabbing a subcontractor because Jenny Smith told you they were good and suddenly they're working 3 days a week, but you're not really sure about them.
Yeah, you're still trying to catch up.
Yeah, you're catching up.
I mean, and you learn while you do that. Anyway. Sometimes that does happen even in the best of plans. but I think it's learning from them and then trying to predict things as much as you
Absolutely. It's responsible too.
can. Yeah.
Try to be. You've both spoken openly about how long it actually took to build the business properly to get to where you are now. And I think it's quite refreshing because online people often only see the polished version. So what do you wish more people understood about building a product-based design business?
This is a tricky one, but
we were talking about this. We were speaking about this a lot, actually, especially after Design Week, having so many conversations with younger designers
well, I mean, I remember coming up thinking, why can't someone just pick up my design and then it just gets put into production and then it's just out in the world? And then over the last 5 years of us, one working with Jordan, trying to work with a few other designers as well, and also releasing all of these collections, like it takes a good 12 to 24 months to, one, realize a design.
From ideation,
prototyping, because when we deliver something, it's like certification, IP rated, like there's a lot of technical things that have to happen. And then two, for us within our business model, because we do quite a bit of like retail and hospitality work, and also I think we look at lead time shouldn't be like 14 weeks. Our aim is 2 to 4 weeks where we can, 4 to 6 weeks maybe. But to do that, there's like a lot of upfront in terms of us understanding our pipeline of projects that are going to be coming in, because then that allows us to have the stock on hand to be able to deliver things efficiently. And that's the way we've designed our business, and it's been like really, really amazing to do that too. And so now doing that, when I look at actually, it's not just a quick conversation, or it's not just put this into production, like the amount of things that actually have to happen.
Have to be considered.
And also I think for us, when we take like a 20, 30 year outlook, like this thing that we're going to put into the market, do we feel comfortable in 10 years or 15 or 20 years time that we can still have it in the market consciously, not doing things.
Not just trend driven.
It's not trend driven. And those are things, that we've, I think, learned to like build a bit of a muscle for.
Yeah, it's an interesting question because there's immediately my brain's going into what does another product designer want to hear? And then there's also, our clients who we work with as well, which I think CJ maybe touched on a bit of that. It's like, and this kind of comes back to the custom stuff as well. New products don't just happen quickly. And I think it's maybe just an understanding of patience for the way product designers and product companies actually, the investment that goes into it. But I think on maybe if there's like an emerging designer or a product designer listening and they're wondering, it's really that you come up with a design, it's not really going to sell for 2 years. The nature of the building industry, the nature of the specification process, it's
project timelines.
Some residential projects are 3 years long.
We've got some
out in the system that are like 3 years old.
Jay went and spoke with an architect and he went, "Why does CJ keep calling me?" He said, "I've been working on this project for 3 years and then it's still another 2 years until it's going to be like
Is it
complete."
a multi-res?
No, it's just someone's resi
that's
home.
Another example of why
but people
we
run
work
out of
directly.
money and all sorts of things.
No, it's just the scale of the project,
Oh,
I
is
think.
it?
Yeah, it's like
maybe it's got off-form concrete or something.
Yeah, no.
Wild.
Some of these projects are we're very fortunate to be able to, see behind the scenes of these projects. But
I can take that information back to CJ directly.
Because Jay had the conversation and because I'm calling them, like when I call them, I say to them, I said, "Look, I'll stop calling you, but I just need to know what's happening with the project because I'm calling you to help you.
I just need to put in CRM when to follow up with you again."
Yeah. I just need to know so that I can make sure that your electrician or your trade is audited in time.
Yeah.
Because if
help.
things get missed.
Of course.
Like I miss them. We all miss them.
No.
But if I can help someone with their project timeline and timeframes, one, it helps our business because of the stock we hold.
Of course.
But two, it helps them with the delivery of their project too.
Absolutely.
It's understanding those timelines. And if you
kind of being respectful and patient that you guys have a process.
As the person who's, yes, we're excited. We've just put all this effort into this new product. We've had it photographed.
Yeah.
We've
it's on Instagram.
It's out there. We've got a website. And then the expectation that sales are just going to come is
time in market.
It took it. Yeah. It wasn't until really OFT that we worked that out. And that came from, spending time working with other studios. But it's that it's not instant. This industry is very slow, and you just have to be patient.
And for the right people who are going to specify your product to see that too, as much as you
Exactly.
can sell it and you can share it and market it, there could be somebody you've never met.
I had so many conversations
still
across
good,
Melbourne, across Melbourne Design Week with interior designers, and I think there's a subconscious thing that happens too. That like if you see a product and you go, I'm not sure if that's going to be around in a year or two, you're not confidently going to put that in a spec because it might
That
not be
company's
there.
not going to be here in a
It
few
doesn't
years.
have a timelessness.
So I think what we've
or-
found is as we've gone on in our business, we've been able to grow and sell more and more and more. And that's, I think, because of that ability now
Time
that
to
people
market,
see and go, they're still making the same.
Trusted.
Still here. Yeah.
They're still here. I can put 10 of these in a project and know that the finishes, the everything, it's still going to be
Or
there.
if something goes wrong, they're not going to be.
Yeah.
They're not going to disappear as a company.
Yes.
They're still going to be.
So I think for other
Yeah.
designers,
Yeah.
like product designers, I think that's like a big takeaway of our business is
Yeah.
like you just got to give things time.
Absolutely.
You can't, make the new things, but you can't chop and change too quickly.
No.
You've got to like really
Show consistency.
Success is
exactly.
like 2-3 years time in is you go, was that thing a success? And it's really hard in that like e-commerce kind of world that we live in where everything is so fast paced.
Yeah.
Because you might design a product that you think's great, but no one wants, and you're not going to really know for 2 years.
Yeah.
It's a gamble.
It's wild, isn't it? Do you ever do prototypes for designers and chat with them? Like we had Tim Noon on the podcast, and he's a beautiful bespoke furniture designer, and he actually opened up about sending prototypes to designers, and some of them would say no for these reasons.
No, as in
No, we don't like it.
Yeah.
No, it won't work. No, it's not going to sell.
So
That's smart.
I know.
our
I was like, good on you for being vulnerable
Our
to do
feedback
that.
loop is Jay's Instagram.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So Jay,
Like your personal
Jay doesn't
Instagram?
have a filter.
Sometimes the business one.
It's good. It's like it's really great,
Yeah.
but it's like kind of like market research because if we're excited about something, Jay'll take a picture of it. Sometimes it's just like a render concept, and we'll just put it on his Instagram and just see what bites he gets.
Yeah.
And actually,
Why
our
not?
Riva collection came from that. We got a project off of him sharing it on his personal Instagram,
It's
and then
in a
we
few
were like,
projects, and it's not
we were
even on
like-
the website yet.
no, and we were
Yeah.
like, cool. Now that's a thing. So I think we do it from that point of view.
And also, you speaking, comes back to why we want to be working directly with our clients is we can have those conversations immediately. And it's like, our job is to make lights for these projects. We're just one small part in the whole project. How do we know if it's good? How do we know? How do we know what's needed? Like that's why we designed we got Jordan to design the Tupper pendant.
Yeah.
We had so many conversations about, we need some new options for dining pendants. And me and CJ have been trying for so long. It just was not in our
stuck.
brains. Like we're like, okay, we need to
designed
accept
everything
that
else.
we can't make this like delicate pendant, and that's why we brought Jordan in. And that's purposely why we brought Jordan in, because we knew that our clients wanted it. We couldn't do it. Let's get someone who can.
Yeah.
And it's like that.
But I mean, in terms of that feedback loop, I think that's where we've got Jay and myself, and it's nice now because Jordan's actually in that loop, like in her background being an interior architect as well. We've got a network of friends who are creatives, interior designers, architects, artists that inherently come by, stop into the studio, see things on the wall, see things as
Active
they're
in the
happening.
community. Yeah.
And we get the feedback.
I am a wet paint toucher as well.
Yeah.
Like in the sense that's I will just put everything out there, and I'm just like, I'm unashamed.
But it's funny because he is, but he's not, because like our website too is very highly curated. And because I'll be like, oh, let's just put up a photo because then it's live. And Jay's like, we cannot do that.
I'm the same.
Like we can do that on Instagram.
We haven't thought about
We can
that.
do that on stories on Instagram, but we cannot do it.
But it's
because
funny,
the website is a front-facing authority builder of trust.
Yeah.
So if this is
It's
just
first
kind of,
impressions for people
first
who've never met you.
exactly. Yeah.
So the wet paint doesn't go there. Though. Like it's okay. It's safe. But it's good. But I think the balancedness of both of us is, and what we've found throughout our whole time is like when I'm down, he's up. When he's down, I'm up.
Yeah.
There just seems to be a natural flow state that, like I said, very lucky from all the stories you hear about how it can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was something that you said previously that I loved, big brand front, small business energy. I feel like that perfectly captures the way the business presents. Was that always intentional?
Yeah.
I think we just touched on it. Website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
okay.
no, completely intentional. Because I think when we launched, we were like, we understand that there's got to be this trust
We're a new
from the
brand.
start. Like we're dealing in lighting, which is electricity, which is then also adds another layer of like things that can go wrong, which isn't great. So when we set out, we were like, great, we only get one chance of having a first impression. And that impression should be one that gives people trust and informs them and helps them. And then the small part was like I think I go by the, you treat others how you'd like to be treated. And I think, if I'm looking at putting something in a project, I'd love to be called and, and hear about where it's going, what other materials it's going next to, just be that bouncing board. So I think for us, it's being big where it's needed. So
it's delivered on time. It's delivered perfectly every time.
Yeah.
But the communication level is like you're calling a small business.
But the same,
we
like
are a small business. But
the same with like the lead times, the 2 to 4 weeks, like being able to deliver something like a big business would.
Yeah.
But then also having that like ability to call us and talk
Personable.
to us personally. Yeah.
And like small business in design, artisanal finishes like patinaing brass.
Yeah.
You're not really going to get Muto or like some of those bigger brands that are going to do that.
No.
for you.
Or even have the conversation.
I don't
There's,
even talk
there's
to you
probably
about
not
it.
someone
Like you've got
available.
white, black, navy, and
Yeah.
seven
what you
red
do.
or
Whatever's on
something.
the website.
Yeah, whatever's on the website.
Just click the drop down.
But so we do all those finishes, like all in-house, but the way we looked at it is like, why does it still have to take 16 weeks to do that? Whereas we
It's
can,
so
we
hard
can
lead
act
times.
like we can act like a bigger company in the sense that if we build systems for this, spend a lot of time trying to build systems for that, we can deliver in the way that a big company would, but still with the small company kind of touch, which is
Energy.
our goal, ask us in another 5 years.
Yeah.
That's like,
Get you back on the
that's our
pod.
intent. Yeah.
Yeah. But like a few guests are wanting to come back on the pod 2 years after. Like they were
Nice.
some of my first guests 2 years ago because of how much has grown and changed.
Yeah.
They want to now talk about.
I think
Oh, so much happened in 2 years.
I know.
so much has happened in the last
Even just-
6 months.
Yeah. But like even just 1 year, like the growth that sometimes you go through that you want to share, So one thing I really respected hearing from you is that you eventually realized your real strength wasn't necessarily being the hero designer.
Yeah.
It was helping other creatives bring their visions to life. Was that a turning point for the business?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It did so many things, like kind of sound like a broken record, but like harping on about, what's our purpose? Why are we here? What is the point of us building this company? And the second that we finally worked out that, and this maybe came from realizing that we didn't fully know. So then we went on this kind of big journey of reading business books and kind of talk about your message, like just so much stuff where we're like, hey, we need to really unpack what we're about. And once we worked that out, it then helped us in so many ways in the cool, we know that we need this pendant. We're not the best for it. That doesn't matter. What's best for the outcome of the project? Or even internally understanding that, this is the end goal that we're trying to get to. CJ's better at sales. I'm better at kind of running the production and maybe kind of focusing on brand stuff. That we're like, it helps solve so many things that we're unclear about.
But I think the big thing too, and it's being super deliberate, is about the language that you use. Because I think design inherently, has been ego-driven, hero-based.
But the purpose of design is to solve problems.
But and especially within what we're working in the industry, like interior designers, like you're inherently designing a space for someone else.
Yes.
So
Not
like
personal.
for us to try and be a hero in someone else's home, like
And
that
in
doesn't
someone
That's a good way
else's
to put it.
project as well.
in
Yeah.
someone else's project,
Yeah.
like. But once again, I think when we settled on that, it's just who we are naturally. I think we're both helpers. Like we both
To our detriment sometimes.
It's definitely to our detriment, but I think we're learning of how to build a framework around how to like empower. Yeah, it's just really genuine for us. Like it's yeah.
And so it's interesting because we touched on the ego
Yeah.
earlier. And so what I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, it's sort of going, all right, so we are a provider, we're a service, we have a product, we want to educate the buyer, the specifier. where in all of that then, you mentioned earlier that sometimes you get a bit like, oh, I've got this idea, could be a bit ego driven. How do you balance that then in this instance of like,
I guess,
oh, I want to fly with that idea, but maybe I need to rein that in.
There's a checklist. So like, sure, this might be like a little bit more of like a ego design, or maybe just like something that I'm personally excited about. But we have some core values that we wrote, and one of them is like, it has to be exciting for us and our clients. So if it's just exciting for us, we don't do it.
Yeah.
But if it's...
We've also got a very large folder of concepts and renders that are unrealized.
I bet.
Like a ginormous, because I've got sketchbooks. So the way we work in the creative process is like, I'll sketch, constantly. Jay will sketch constantly. And then we'll just like vibe model in 3D. And we've got renders upon renders of things that, might work for other brands, might work for other things. We've realized them because we drew it, or we created the concept. And for us, like, honestly, most of the time that's enough.
It gets it out.
We're like, cool, we got it out. And park
it's like
it.
talking about it, but you've drawn it.
But if we've stewed on it for another month or another couple of weeks, it's like, okay, well, maybe there is something in there to revisit.
Yeah.
But when you get it out, most of the time it just sits there and it never comes.
That's how Reba happened, like the recent one we did. And I kept trying to play for ages on how we could get like a more square shape.
Yeah, like
as simple as that. We need like a rectangular
form. Yeah.
And we're like, maybe we could use some components from the Pros collection for it. And there was probably like 5 or 6 versions that I did that just kind of sat there. And then just before we got invited to do Ruby Shields' exhibition for Melbourne Design Week, Studio Shields, I was like, oh, maybe if I try that rectangle thing again, and then it just fell out perfectly, a new version where it was like, oh,
timing,
okay,
right?
Yeah, timing. And but that was because we had something to do it for.
But I think
we showed Ruby, like we showed her, and she was excited. So then we were excited, they're excited.
It was
so
received
that double
well.
checklist.
Jay put it on his Instagram. People on there were excited.
Yeah.
Is it on the website though?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Photos are happening.
Photographed at the end of this month.
It will be.
Having all of the details knitted up. I think one thing we've gone to with our website is trying to photograph every possible finish as well. Because when an interior designer asks, what does opaline with bronze inner this finish look like? We can go, here's the picture.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And having that,
in a few different lights if possible.
Yeah. Well, most of the time I've got folders of like, here's every finish in clear frosted, opaline, white frosted.
Beautiful.
Here's like, what do you need? We've got photos of it. And then the other thing is we've got a folder of like iPhone photos, because so many people then
they don't trust our professionals.
The real beautiful ones look good, but what does it really look like?
Yeah. Are you standing next to it right now?
Like, and then,
Can you take a quick picture?
So we've got a folder of
It's like
photos.
that.
as well.
Dale texts me, like, can you send me a photo of this?
Yeah.
Literally. Well, it's like that with tiles for us.
Yeah.
Like we'll call like Eco Outdoor, whoever it might be.
Like I can see what it looks like.
Yeah. Have you got the beige in the showroom? Yeah, I do actually. I'm like, send me a quick vid, because I'll just literally be with the client. And then they'll be like doing, they know what I need. Moving around like this. I'm like, thank you. Secure it. Client now feels confident with what it's going to look like.
I think that's the big business, small business stuff we talked about too previously, right? Like everyone wants the polished thing.
Yeah.
But then they need that like human touch of like, but is it real?
Yeah.
And then I think the third element for us too is like the in-hand finish thing. So when you get it, like I think lots of products you get, just you go, like it almost got there, but it feels a bit rattly or tinny, or we know that's a wall light and it's going to be on the wall and no one's going to touch it. But I think those in-hand textural finishes of like the thread that you use or how it integrates with something else, like all of those little elements like finalize that whole kind of what is it? It's like a non-verbal contract you've written with the client that we've said we're going to do all of these things, and this is like the proof with how we're going to do it.
Yeah, we've created
so
it.
So there is like a bit of a
interesting way to put it.
We do. Yeah.
I love that idea around exploration of concept and ideas and things, even if you don't do it then and there. I find there's a parallel for when we do like mood boarding or even just writing an email that I might need to address something. It's giving yourself space to go, I'm going to put that out there and I'm going to revisit it, and not giving all these deadlines that I think we give each other in terms of, I might tell the client I'll have the mood board by the end of the week. I I possibly need Tuesday to get really creative because I'm in the mood, and then I may not be in the mood for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to deliver anything good anyway.
Yeah.
So I always allow like 3 to 4 weeks for every concept because I know that sometimes on a Sunday
It might spark.
I'll work 12 till 4
Yep.
because I'm just so
Or
in
like
the zone. Midnight, 2 a.m. I'll like quickly write a reminder because I'm like, oh, add that's going to be beautiful. But I love, even though you said it's like accepting that we're going to have moments where we just explore. We may not do anything with it, and that's okay.
That's been kind of our whole business model is like it's been on that gut feel, like in giving things when it's right. Like when we first created Objects for Thought, like we were like, okay, cool. We had the design of Writer first. Like Jay had come up with the form and everything else. And then we're like, cool, okay, we're going to do a company. Okay, what's the business name? And we I think we sat on it for like 5 months or something. And it was just like, we parked it and we were like, cool, okay, we know the product.
Yeah.
We don't know what this thing's called yet, so we'll just let it simmer. And then I remember Jay and I were talking, and he said something about like, oh yeah, I'd like objects for thinking, and I was like, stop. There it is. Like there's the thing. Like in this conversation we've been having, and sometimes we've spoken about that we do like conversational design, because it's things that happen when you're not ready for them. And I think that's another reason as to why we do our product design process the way we do, because like you said, sometimes things need an extra 6 months to bake.
Yeah.
Like, and there's a thing that we always get to is it feels really weird in a good way, or it feels like awkwardly good. And I think that's for us when we've struck something
like
that's
androgynous to like different interiors. Like when we're not trying to not be a hero sort of thing is like, we don't want it to only suit in certain types of interiors. We kind of want it to work across the lot and be versatile and useful.
But I think more to the point of like when we know I feel like settled on something good, it's like this feeling you get inside that's like,
you're like, yeah, that's it.
But it's like not like this is amazing, but it's just like I don't know what this feeling is, and that's typically the best feeling where you're like,
but something fits. It works.
Something fits. I don't know why, but the form, all of it coming together just works.
And then you feel so much more confident, for you marketing that product, for me delivering that concept, because there is something in there that you're like, I've got it, I've nailed it.
Grab onto, And on that creative process, like we're working on some stuff for Melbourne Design Week, and it got to the point where we went, this isn't working. Like, and we've got to say no.
Yeah, we fully did some.
Like we had concepts. We were like, we had manufacturers lined up, and the processes all ready to go, and we were like,
it's not perfect.
We're not. We feel this doesn't feel right. Okay, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's I think something that we've learned is how to say no.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Tough.
It can be really hard. So then when it comes to, growing the business, how do you both approach scaling, hiring staff as a small team?
Slowly. Like we just brought on our first workshop person to help with production as we've kind of been growing. And we started thinking about it. We were here in Sydney for the Idea Awards November last year. And we're like, okay, I think I can see we're looking at our pipeline, knowing what's coming up. We need some help next year. Like it's no longer just the two of us. So we start that early and then kind of let our brains kind of percolate. What type of person does that look like? And kind of what I was saying before, not trying to just hire because we have to. We need, it's hiring the right type of personality, the right type of person. But it's trying to think before you need it and trying to look ahead, which we're about to do as we kind of keep growing. We're going to need more people, production managers, sort of stuff. But it's trying to think about it before it happens.
It's tricky. I think it's one of the hardest things that we've got to do, because I think in the rest of our jobs and the rest of our lives, we've had the experience with the rest of the business. So we've made stuff, we've designed things, we've done, accounting stuff, we've done the sales
this is
stuff.
new to us. Yeah.
Hiring people and but because also we've been on the other side of, being, not in the right place as well. And that's the last thing we want to do to anyone else. So I think, what's the, it's really taking our time so that, us as a business can grow, because I think we get the right people with our company, like they're only going to add 10x to what we're doing. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think it's one of the trickiest things, like we touched on earlier, around people sort of say, all right, so you're ready to hire and you've just got to delegate that. You don't have time for that anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, but sometimes that role is like 6 different roles as well. So it's like, what do I really need that I'm not going to do or not enjoying, as we spoke about earlier? And what are there other skills outside of that they can cover off on?
Yeah. I think we're at a really lucky point in time as well of growing our business because there are so many resources and you hear everyone else's experiences. Like Jay sent me something the other day for exactly that, where it was like list out all of your pain points.
Yeah.
And because then build a job description off of that.
Yeah.
Not like I want to hire, say, like a production manager and then going down the prototypical role of trying to use a template. Like it's like, what are the pain points that I'm having here that I actually need someone to do? Because then I think that's that thing that we've also touched on is that open communication. Like if you're bringing someone in, you need to communicate with them early and clear so that everyone's on the same page for what we all expect.
The scope of what the job is.
Yeah. But also it's what we expect, like we're in a very people-oriented business, like, dealing with our clients. Yes, we design products, but the day-to-day, it's all about people. So I think that's also why it feels so like big for us to bring people into what we're doing.
And I think you want them to be a reflection of you and the brand,
Yeah.
Without it being too personal or emotional, it's more just you want them to really grasp what you're about. And as you say, your purpose, they don't need to be like in it, but just going, okay, cool, I respect that, I value that. Now this is how I'm going to take this role, knowing that.
Completely.
And deal with the clients and everyone the same way.
Yeah.
So when you look ahead at the next 5 years, what excites you both the most?
I'm very excited about working with more product designers. We've become very clear and understood that, our job, we help other people with their stuff. But then actually when we're at uni, something that it's happened to us when we went to Milan, we realized that, we've built the brand that other designers, when we were in uni, wanted to design for. And so we didn't really realize that we didn't doing
set out to do it.
No.
Like we were just like, we're making our own creations.
I don't want to have to wait for some big brand like Floss or something to give me an opportunity. I'm just going to do it. And then now that we've had Jordan, we're going to be working with Jordan again next year. And then we've got 2 other designers that we're speaking to some other collections. I'm really excited about that. Like actually being able to help our design peers.
For us too, it also gives us it's so nice to see other people's creative process.
Yeah.
And unpack how they think. Because I think you think creativity, is somewhat linear when you're designing a product.
Totally, yeah.
But bringing other people in, the people that we've, had the privilege of starting those relationships with and working with, it's been really, really, really interesting.
Step back into a kind of financing, curating, kind of editing, manufacturing role rather than the lead creative decision.
Yeah.
And I think that's when we shine because it's we're helping people.
Yeah. You've been doing that from the start.
Yeah.
Just for each other. But now the idea is help other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great
And I think for the next 5 years too, I think we keep getting, and not that we're trying to, but we're working on projects both nationally and internationally too. So I think it's, for the next 5 years, it's going to be really just good to do more of what we're already doing.
Yeah. Building systems.
There's nothing that's it's just nice to hear about the new projects. It's that is the thing that gives us energy every day. Yeah. And I think part of it is really living in the now. We're excited for what's coming. There's a plan for that, but I think it's more about building out our capacity and capability to be able to help people with their projects.
That's exactly it. It's the next 5 years is basically you've stepped out in to build that team and those systems so that we can be that big brand front.
Have the capacity to
deliver
do it.
And just expand the amount of people that we can work with.
Jay, a couple of years ago, went back and went what is we wrote a list of every possible light scenario within a project.
That a designer will use.
So here's a whole
as in
list
wall
of,
light, pendant, down light, up light,
directional pendant,
indoor, outdoor, ceiling,
linear, up down,
bathroom,
hallway,
large volume dining,
and so
volume living.
Ultimately, it would be cool for us to have something in all of those categories.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So that if the same thing, if it suits your project,
Mm.
then it can work.
And then we become the okay, we need to solve this problem.
Mm.
Who can help objects for thought?
Mm.
Solve
They've
the
got
problem.
they've got something for everything.
Mm. Do you mind if I ask you a financial question?
Yep.
Sure.
If we go back to working on the business,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know that every time I've looked at working on the business, particularly, you know, having my own design studio, now a podcast, you need to invest capital.
Yep.
I'm curious if you're open to sharing. I'm hearing you talk about the next 5 years being quite a world of expansion.
Yes.
Do you preempt or predict quite a big capital spend, or do you like to, I'm just curious about that.
We did that. So that was when we flew a bit too close to the sun.
Yeah,
we tried to
last year.
launch 2 collections at the same time. And so launching both of those, but they were also both very large collections, like in hand blown glass, spun metal, processes we hadn't.
Lots of mold making.
Processes we hadn't worked in before.
And then bringing that into stock as well.
So one part, yes, but I think we're getting better and better and more efficient at our process of designing. And when I say designing, that's like managing the inventory, like the whole system of bringing and implementing a design. Every collection we bring in is a very large capital expense.
Yeah.
Like not only just in stock, but
close to $100,000.
Marketing, photography, like delivery, like when we get to that nth degree of it all,
It's real, isn't
I
it?
think that's also why it was so slow for us to get going. Was we designed a rider, we used it was like $5,000 that my nan gave me, my $5,000 inheritance early.
and there's a lot of sweat equity.
Yeah, a lot of sweat equity. And so it was be really, really intentional around what is actually needed to make sales and get this business off the ground. You know,
where does that money go?
Where does that go? And so now we're in a little bit better position because, you know, we have a lot more kind of cash flow. The business, we're selling a lot more. You know.
But I think we've still got to be deliberate in terms of what we do there because, a new collection is a very large
costs a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a very large outlay. And if you don't plan for it, it can put you in trouble in business.
Yeah.
Have
a strategy.
But a part of that 5-year plan is that we, aim at releasing roughly 1 collection a year. Doing that allows us to then, the profit that the business makes goes into a fund that allows us to then release a new collection. So it kind of just
it's a cycle.
It's a cycle that where all of that moves.
Yeah,
it's like a spiraling tower that just kind of goes up.
Yeah, great.
And I think that's a big part of the creating a product business.
Absolutely.
Like I've had people go, oh, you're in a niche, like it's hard to like copy your products or something like that before. But the thing is like, we've had to, the risk we've taken is putting the stock on the shelf, spending years developing collections,
to
all
not
of
know if
that
it's going to be received.
Yeah, it's a risk.
Yeah.
All of that goes into like trying to put a product out there that has a, right product market fit.
Yeah.
Like
massive risk.
Yeah. And so you're not making your money back on selling 1 light or 2 lights or 3 lights, it takes time.
Yeah.
So
quantities.
I guess like the answer to your question is like, it's not a large capital expenditure, go find, investment to bring out, try and design 10 collections over the next 2 years. That's not a realistic reality. Like it takes a lot more time. And also, you, like we were saying before, you can't, sure we could bring other designers in and try and rush the process, but good design takes time and breathing space. So, which kind of helps it's kind of like this cycle where it helps cash flow, build up your capital to then launch the next collection and then start working on the next one. It takes more time. You're kind of forced to take it slow.
And I think for us, the same way you were talking about your creative process is we have this like loose date of say like, June next year. But the reality is if like, I think we definitely need dates. So like if we don't have a date, it won't happen. It'll just
keeps you accountable.
Pushing out. Yeah, it keeps us accountable. But also it's like not a date that we're like, we've got to, if it's wrong, we're going to push something. If it doesn't work by that time, move it. So and I think that's where maybe sometimes our business differs, is that we're happy to move slow to really make sure that what we're doing fits our clients
With intention.
and it's all with intention. Because or else, you're wasting your own time and money. If
Move slow, but it's also like it's fail fast.
Yeah, very fast.
Yeah.
Very fast.
It's
the
more,
reality.
Yeah.
It's more fail fast.
Yeah.
And then you kind of adjust and fix it before anyone. It seems like it looks slow, but it's slow because we're just.
I think sometimes we forget how fast we move.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Slow for us.
Yeah.
Because it feels very slow and but we constantly keep hearing people being like, how did you do that in that much time? And we're like, I think that urgency is why we are where we are now, is with everything that we've done, we've had a real sense of urgency that it's,
I mean, it's because we're like, this has to work.
it has to.
True.
Nothing else.
You're the only two with the pressure as well.
Yeah.
Terrible employee.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was my idea.
Yeah.
All right, final segment. So 3 questions, 3 minutes, whatever comes to mind first.
Right.
What's one lighting mistake people make constantly in their homes?
Downlights
Uh,
in the middle of the room.
4,000K.
Yes, totally.
White lighting.
Totally bright artificial lighting.
Nothing over 3,000. Yeah.
Little fun fact for our audience. What's one object in your own home you'd save first in a fire?
I'd probably save I've got my nan's little, like the only real thing I have left from her is this little Oxford dictionary from like
Love
the
that.
40s. I'd probably save that, I think.
That's pretty cool.
I've got young boys, so like investing in things right now isn't really on the.
Yeah.
Everything gets jumped on and
pick
leapt
them
on.
up. Yeah.
It's taking the children
Like your
out of the
custom
house.
sofa. Children.
You can get a new
Sits on his
sofa.
own sofa.
Yeah, I've got a big friendly at home, and I've got another. Like it's slowly collecting the things that I've made, which is nice.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, children
No,
first.
children.
That's a really hard one. Yeah,
Luggage.
there's nothing at the top of mind that I'm like,
that's good.
save the thing. Like,
Yeah.
things can be replaced.
Fair enough. Good answer. So you've both wrapped up a huge install, survived a brutal deadline. You're finally switching off for the night. What's the ultimate post-project meal order?
Yeah.
The pub snitchel.
Pub feed. Yeah.
I love a snitty.
Yeah.
How
Snitty.
good.
We had snitty last time.
I can eat it so often.
Yep.
It's a bit silly, isn't it? Did you have it with slaw and chips?
Yeah.
That's my go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chips are great.
It was.
Chips and gravy.
It was great.
I love that. Well, thank you both for being on Behind the Design and
Thanks,
sharing
Camilla.
your journey
This has
and
been
your
really nice.
process. Yeah, it's been really great. Awesome.
Thank you.
This conversation honestly made me look at lighting in a completely different way, not just as a product, but as something that quietly shapes how we experience architecture, materials, and emotion within a space. Thank you for listening to another episode of Behind the Design. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review or share it with someone in the industry. And I'll see you soon for another conversation unpacking the people and stories behind the design industry.